Enterprise Stories is the weekly radio program that shares the experiences of successful Nigerian entrepreneurs and provides expert analysis of their success factors. Enterprise Stories, business stories of success.
Good day, listeners. Welcome to Enterprise Stories. My name is Olawale Anifowoshe, from US to Nigeria with manufacturing. In our Story of the Day segment, we will share a story of a Nigerian that returned to Nigeria to start a manufacturing business. And in our teaching segment, we will look at investment management and how you can embrace a savings culture. But before we start, let's take a quick message from our sponsors.
When you are successful in your small business, as I am, people will always come to you. They want to know what you're doing differently, who your bankers are, and what kind of deals you are getting from them. Well, I'm happy to enjoy all the benefits of the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. My profit is up. But why? Because I get zero COT, unlimited turnover, no limit on check lodgement or withdrawals, free internet and telephone banking, as well as discount on training courses for small business owners. With special benefits like that on the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. Now, there is no reason why your business won't boom just like mine.
Stanbic IBTC Bank, moving forward.
Good day, listeners. My name is Bayo Rotimi, your faculty on today's edition of Enterprise Stories. Today we'll be talking about investment management, which is really just about savings and managing your resources. Now, I know that it might sound a bit strange asking businesses to save and to invest. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Just like individuals, businesses, particularly small and growing businesses, should also be encouraged to save. Why should businesses save? I think it's very critical because even countries, nations also save, and that is why we have the sovereign wealth funds, and a number of countries actually have this. Now, the reasons for savings, I'll just enumerate a number of them. Number one, you save for the rainy day. You save to avoid business disruptions, i.e. when the cash flows of your business comes under pressure. Without a doubt, we live and work and operate in an environment that is volatile. So that is why even with all of the best of planning, certain realities in the marketplace may have an adverse effect on your business. So one of the ways of getting around and smoothing all those rough periods is if you have a pool of funds that are saved and are invested and are available to you to draw from. So it is important, in order to avoid business disruptions, for you to have savings. Also, it's important for businesses to be able to diversify their revenue streams. So yes, you have a core business. Yes, that business delivers the greater proportion of your revenues. But it's always important also to have what we call passive investments, or indeed passive income, i.e. come rain, come shine, some amount of money is accruing in a dedicated account which you may call upon in the future. It may also be used, ladies and gentlemen, your savings, to acquire tangible assets such as real estate, which will ultimately then serve as collateral when you seek to obtain credit facilities from banks and other financial institutions. You will realize that every business today, once you go to a bank seeking funding, the very first thing they will ask you before they even look at the viability of your business is, do you have tangible assets to secure this credit facility? So your savings could ultimately be used to acquire assets of this nature, so that when you seek to grow and expand your business, you have assets that will unlock the growth capital that you need. Now, what will companies do with the savings? Or when you ultimately save, what do you do with it? Do you invest it? And if you invest it, in what kind of asset classes? I'm just giving an example. Real estate is one of them. I would like to just divide them into two major segments. The first one will be short-term investments, which are essentially like treasury bills. A lot of people are not aware that they can invest in treasury bills issued by the federal government of Nigeria. These are debt securities that are backed by the full faith and credit of the Nigerian government. So it is expected that government will not default on this obligation. You could also invest in tenured deposits, fixed deposits. You could invest in bankers' acceptances and commercial papers. These are papers issued by AAA rated companies, local conglomerates, multinationals, and so on and so forth. Then you could invest in medium to long-term assets. This will then be government securities, government bonds, a 3-year bond, a 5-year bond, a 10-year bond, or you could invest in corporate bonds issued by companies. Again, companies with a significant track record, operating history of performance and profitability. Real estate we've talked about. Yes, some businesses may not be able to invest directly in real estate, but there are also real estate related assets such as the real estate investment trust, which are securities created out of a pool of real estate assets that you can invest in. You could also invest in equities managed by professional fund managers. So there are these things called the mutual funds run by professional fund managers. Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, you need to seek professional advice before embarking on various types of investment. Finally, how do you save? Number one, you need to set aside a dedicated amount, maybe a portion of your salary as an employee of the business. Remember, you are an employee of your business, or indeed a certain percentage of your dividend income. That is the dividend that comes out of the profit your business makes in a year. You can decide to set aside a particular amount on a regular basis. In all things, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of discipline is required for you to be able to save on a regular basis. It really does not matter how much you save. What is important is your consistency, because ultimately little drops of water, as they say, and this thing they call the power of compounding. If you invest a fixed amount on a regular basis, believe it or not, in a few years to come, you'll be amazed about what it has translated into. I thank you very much for your attention.
When you are successful in your small business, as I am, people will always come to you. They want to know what you're doing differently, who your bankers are, and what kind of deals you are getting from them. Well, I'm happy to enjoy all the benefits of the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. My profit is up. But why? Because I get zero COT, unlimited turnover, no limit on check lodgement or withdrawals, free internet and telephone banking, as well as discount on training courses for small business owners. With special benefits like that on the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. Now, there is no reason why your business won't boom just like mine.
Stanbic IBTC Bank, moving forward.
We are back. We're now in the story of the day segment, and in the studio with us today is Mr. ISHMAEL Balogun, the CEO of Goldmine Global Services Limited. Welcome, Mr. Balogun.
Wale, thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to run right into what your business is all about. Tell us about Goldmine Global Services Limited.
Thank you. Goldmine Global Services happens to be a company that's involved in procurement of machinery for fast-moving consumer goods. When we started, we operated a manufacturing firm, which actually now led to the establishment of the procurement firm. And this is what I would naturally want to tell any listener out there. As an entrepreneur, you don't want to be really afraid of starting something because you quite don't know where the next stage after you have started will take you. So we're involved in procurement of fast-moving consumer goods, machinery that will help you start your businesses. Every day around in Nigeria, you're always in need of one thing or the other, and we actually now bring those equipment in, install them in your factories, get your factory working, and then get your staff going. And that's the way I believe we're going to get Nigeria to the next level. We have to go from an import-dependent society to actually an export one, and I believe this is the way to go.
Okay, this sounds very interesting to me.
It is,
and it means that you're part of setting up a lot of manufacturing companies in Nigeria.
Yes.
But tell me, how did it all start? How did you venture into this business?
Like any dream, I've always been an entrepreneur all my life. Even while in school, I've always had a side business. But precisely, my family, we relocated back to Nigeria in 2005, and like anything else, I needed to get myself acclimatized with the business environment in Nigeria. So I found it worthy to enroll at Enterprise Development Center, which is a subsidiary of the Pan-Atlantic University. And while taking these classes, so many ideas came up. We looked at oil and gas, we looked at so many industries. But I wanted to impact and do a business that would affect the daily lives of Nigerians, and I thought no other way would satisfy that than the manufacturing, and not just any manufacturing, but manufacturing of fast-moving consumer goods. And we started with the production of toilet rolls, serviettes, kitchen rolls, paper towels, and that led us to developing other things for other clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you manufacturing any of these products yourself?
Yes, we have a brand of toilet rolls in the market, toilet rolls, serviettes, kitchen rolls, and we also do what we call private label, which means some clients really want to start their factories or their businesses, but don't have the resources to actually develop it all the way. So we are able to offer them unbranded products. They can then go and brand it on their own and have their own brand. And we do that for quite a number of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, how many people are working with you currently now?
As we speak now, we have a factory team about average of 20 people, management about a good 8, 9.
Okay. And
yeah,
how has it been managing people within the factory setting or manufacturing?
Right. You need to understand that people are, except for your production managers and other higher level of staff in the factory, a lot of people coming into factory work are not that educated. So there's a lot of things you have to do to make sure you manage them. I tell my factory manager all the time, like, you have to treat these people really as your child. You can't be too hard on them and you can't be too soft. So there's that median where you make sure, and there's also that misconception that, okay, I'm working in this factory, it seems like the boss is already paid. So it's a misconception, because at the end of the day, we've added to add value to our business. And that's why we want you to be there, not to think otherwise. But really, it's still a lot of issue dealing with human resources in Nigeria. There's training. And after they've been trained, they now take the everything they've learned and go look for jobs somewhere else. So you, as an entrepreneur, you're always worried about, okay, if I take you on a trip with me and you get certified, what is the guarantee that on coming back, you're still going to be working in my business and not looking for the next green check? You understand? And that's something you have to constantly deal with.
Yes.
But regardless of what it is, you just know that as long as you treat people right, they would always be there to respond adequately. And that's, that's how we've been able
to do it. And it's been going well.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I mean, all this you've said is interesting,
Yeah.
and I am seeing Naira sign everywhere.
Okay. That's good.
So let's talk
Why don't
about
we make that
I'm seeing dollar sign everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay, so
all right.
starting this kind of business, how were you able to start? Where did the funding come from?
In our case, I'll say we're a bit fortunate. Prior to starting, we had worked in real estate in America. We were able to have quite some savings. But notwithstanding, we realized that our dreams were so big that on getting to Nigeria, on actually looking at the whole business plan for this project, we thought we had enough. That's the truth of the matter. We went out there, we bought the latest technology, state of the art, and you realize that on wanting to start, we were having issues with what we call working capital. And we had to source funds from the local banks. And it was quite an odd, because you feel that, okay, with everything on ground, either you want to do all asset debenture or whatever the story is, we have the items on ground, seeking funds shouldn't be an issue. But we had to go through that, and it was quite devastating. But end result is what I'll tell anybody that's ready to do this, is that, look, know what your cost analysis looks like, do your projections, know what you need. The fact that you have 10 million naira doesn't mean you're going to buy an equipment that's worth 8 million. And by the time you start, you realize that you're short on working capital. So you have the best of equipment, but you can't produce. It defeats the purpose. So there has to be a clear analysis of, okay, how much of this budget that I have am I allocating towards machinery procurement? And what then am I using towards my working capital? So that at the end of the day, you have a balanced system. So it was quite difficult when we started, but just like anything else, we're able to prove to our bankers that we're worth the risk, and we got some funding.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Accessing fund has always been a challenge for most businesses, regardless what sector you're in Nigeria. But I believe that there are some opportunities now for those that have genuine businesses, to access fund. But before we go, I wanted you to share with us the future of Goldmine Global Services Limited, and what message do you have for those that are considering venturing into manufacturing in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Wale. My vision for Goldmine Global Services as we proceed into the next couple of years is really to empower Nigerians, one family at a time. It's always been my dream that what has happened with China is not something that can be recreated. We have the human resources, we have the human capital, we have we're not lazy. So I tell anyone out there, as long as you have the focus and as long as you have the passion, you can definitely start something, especially with manufacturing. What we have realized is that for every salary you pay, you're impacting the lives of about 3 or 4 people. So picture that for the housewife that's listening to us, that's at home right now, for that business owner that's out there that wants to diversify or get some other streams of income. I would say manufacturing is really the next way to go. And what we do for you is to actually take away your stress while you focus on being creative and help you set up your industry, and you can be the next champion. To the listeners out there, I want to categorically say that if you look all around you, the cup you're drinking that water with was produced by someone. That bottle of water you have is produced by someone. That block that was used to build the house was produced by someone. The toilet roll you're using in your house is produced by someone. So you look around you and you say to yourself, what am I going to contribute to this society? You can't blame government for everything. Ask yourself, what are you doing for this very government? And the story I say and I repeat again is, you have to look at manufacturing as an option. You have to think outside of the box. So my point is that either you want to do a block making line, a food packaging line, a paper conversion line, as long as it's manufacturing related, you definitely need to speak to us, and we are more than competent to bring your dreams to reality.
Thank you very much, Mr. ISHMAEL Balogun, for sharing your story with us today. Listeners, we've come to the end of the Story of the Day segment. We'll be back right after the short break.
When you are successful in your small business, as I am, people will always come to you. They want to know what you're doing differently, who your bankers are, and what kind of deals you are getting from them. Well, I'm happy to enjoy all the benefits of the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. My profit is up. But why? Because I get zero COT, unlimited turnover, no limit on check lodgement or withdrawals, free internet and telephone banking, as well as discount on training courses for small business owners. With special benefits like that on the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. Now, there is no reason why your business won't boom just like mine.
Stanbic IBTC Bank, moving forward.
You're still tuned to Enterprise Stories, brought to you by Enterprise Development Center of Pan Atlantic University.
Bayo, you've heard Goldmine's story. What's your take?
Thank you very much, Wale. I have listened very carefully to Mr. Balogun's interview, and I think there are a lot of exciting things he has mentioned. I think one critical thing for every entrepreneur, indeed aspiring entrepreneurs, is that you must have a great deal of guts. You must be willing to take what we call qualified risks. You must have an entrepreneurial zeal burning inside of you. And at the same time, having this is not just enough. You need to then hone your skills. And Mr. Balogun actually participated in the EDC program, the Certificate in Entrepreneurial Management. And what that does is that it helps you to position yourself adequately for running a business. Now, a number of things came up in the course of his interview, and I just highlighted a number of them. Now, first one is that he had some clarity in terms of his target market. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very important in everything that you do to ensure that you identify that particular market who understand what you have to offer and who have the capacity to buy or to subscribe for whatever it is you are selling. And that's not enough. You also have to ensure that this target market is large enough, i.e., it is sustainable. It can keep you in business, or it will keep you in business over the long term. And one area he focused on were the fast-moving consumer goods. And these are items that are part of our lives on a daily basis. So anybody that is manufacturing into that market, selling products and services into that market, already has a sustainable market. All that person then needs to do is to ensure that they are delivering consistently on the quality of their product, because this, again, in that market there is a lot of competition. There are multiple players. So how do you differentiate yourself from the next person? You either are competing on the basis of price, or you are competing on the basis of some differentiation. But having said that, it makes a lot of sense, and every business must ensure that they focus on the quality aspect. Another thing Mr. Balogun mentioned, and this is a challenge for a lot of businesses, is actually the management of the human capital. The success or failure of your business will largely be driven by your ability to manage the people that work with you. If they have a shared vision, if they understand what direction in which you are headed, then they are always able to help you achieve your goals and your objectives without too much difficulty. Now, the critical way of getting people to do their work and to deliver on operational goals is you must understand the ways or the keys to unlocking their potential. So you must understand what drives and what motivates your staff, and you must ensure that they feel a sense of ownership inside of that business. Now, if you are able to do that, then the battle is half won, I would say, because these people then will ensure that the quality of your product or your service does not slip. And once that does not slip, then you own a piece of the market, and they have no reason to go somewhere else, as long as they believe that you will continue to deliver and that quality assurance is in place. Another critical challenge for most businesses, which Mr. Balogun seems to have done very well, is this business about funding. How do you fund your business? Now, before anybody can consider supporting your business financially, they want to see what you have brought to the table. And this gentleman, he said that he saved some money, he brought some money into his business. He largely relied on his own savings for the initial capital expenditure for all the machinery and all of the equipment he needed to run his business. Now, for everybody out there that is involved in business today or has a plan to start a business sometime soon, you will struggle to raise external financing if you cannot demonstrate that you have saved some money, i.e., you are putting some of your own resources at risk. Now, Mr. Balogun was able to do that. And the next thing he then needed was working capital. Now, this is where you most likely have to go outside of yourself and look for external funding parties. How do you access that funding? He mentioned a business plan. Ladies and gentlemen, without a shadow of a doubt, you need to be properly prepared. You need to document everything about your business, your processes, the market you seek to address, the viability of your business, the sustainability of the market to which you are selling into. Now, you put all of this together into a document called the business plan, and that is what you will now show to prospective providers of financing, whether they are equity investors, whether they are the commercial banks like I believe Mr. Balogun approached. But one thing that every prospective investor will be excited about is to see a promoter that is risking his own capital and is putting his savings or some other critical asset at risk for the growth and hopefully the sustainability of that business. So working capital you can access on the back of a robust asset base. The equipment that he invested in ultimately served as some sort of collateral which gave comfort to the banks. And I will encourage everybody else, please spend a bit of time in planning your business. Your business plan will also include the financial analysis segment, what are your costs, what are your expected revenues, and how do you ensure that this business can run successfully. As a promoter of a business, you are also a stakeholder. So if the business is not viable, then you really have no business being in that business. So you must understand the numbers. There is a clear distinction between the capital expenditure required for your business and, more importantly or equally importantly, the working capital to keep the business going. A lot of viable businesses have gone out of business simply because they could not muster adequate working capital. So the management of your working capital is critical to the survival of any business. So inside of your business plan, show and demonstrate that this business has the capacity to generate sustainable cash which will keep it in business. Finally, he talked about the future, and I was particularly excited when I heard him talking about empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a cardinal principle that I recommend to every business person. It is not enough for you to succeed at your own business, but you must also help lay a foundation for the other entrepreneurs that are coming behind you. So you must be able to support them. Share your knowledge, share your experience, share your mistakes and your failures, so that hopefully they will run, more important, viable, successful businesses. Again, he talked about manufacturing and the need to focus on manufacturing as a sector. Any economy all over the world is only as strong as its industrial base. Nigeria is blessed with a lot of talented human beings, is blessed with ample resources. So we need individuals that can harness these resources and help create value for the Nigerian economy and indeed for every Nigerian. So all on the whole, I'd like to commend Mr. Balogun. I think he's done an excellent job. The challenges remain, but I'm sure that he's forward-looking and hopefully will continue to run a most successful business. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bayo, for your usual on-point analysis. Listeners, I believe we have gained some useful insights from our story and analysis today. Until next week, when we bring another enterprising story, stay blessed. Joint Enterprise Development Center of the Pan-Atlantic University, formerly known as the Pan-African University, as we celebrate 10 years of entrepreneurship development in Nigeria. For questions and comments, please email edc@pau.edu.ng or log on to Enterprise Stories on nigeria.sme2k.org for useful resources and articles to help grow your business.